Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. We're live on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and join the football family, talking football 5 nights a week, Monday to Friday, live at 4. And if you miss that, then you can always catch up with it on the YouTube channel at your leisure. I'm Peter Martin. Alan Ruff is alongside me, Tam Cowan. It is Thursday. Europa League is at the centre of our attention. Of course, not too long until Rangers kick off against Sparta Prague. And of course, later on, it's Celtic against Bayer Leverkusen. So 2 tough matches ahead. Our reporter Gabriel Antoniazzi has a wee look at what's in store.
It's game week 2 in the Europa League, and Celtic welcome Bayer Leverkusen to Parkhead at 8 o'clock this evening. Now, manager Ange Postecoglou has questioned the narrative that his team are struggling, and what a game it would be to silence a few of the critics. Now, Celtic really do need a result here, considering they lost their opening game away to Real Betis 2 weeks ago, if they do want to be making it to the last 32 of this competition. Now, Kyogo Furuhashi and captain Callum Gregor have been missing for a few weeks. They could make the bench, but they won't be starting. And what about Leverkusen when they are a top side, according to Postecoglou? They've only lost once all season. They boast the likes of Patrick Schick, Florian Wirtz, a teenage sensation, keep an eye out for him, and Jeremy Frimpong, once of this parish. Postecoglou himself thinks they're one of the top teams on the continent.
Side a great pedigree, and they're got outstanding individual players. Within their setup, they're a fairly settled team. Not a lot of changes from last year, and they're a quality team. They're one of the best teams in Europe, and they probably see themselves as a Champions League team.
And how about Rangers? Well, they've got injury problems of their own. There'll be no Connor Goldson or Philippe Hollander at the back, so Leon Balogun will be partnered by one of the fullbacks in the centre of defence when they play against Sparta Prague at 5:45. They also lost their opening game to Lyon a few weeks ago, so Rangers really needing a result here. Manager Steven Gerrard says he's setting his team up to go for the 3 points, but it's going to be a tough ask to turn around the Czech dominance that was over Scotland last campaign.
I think they're a very strong team, a very physical team who run a lot. And in the forward areas, they have a lot of technical players that can really hurt you, especially in the wide areas in 1v1 situations. But I think we've seen last year, and we've also seen enough this year to know that we're in for a real tough challenge.
The team that Rangers faced this evening, Sparta, beat Celtic 4-1 here and away from home. The double over them. Slavia Prague, their city rivals, of course, knocked Rangers out of the Europa League back in spring, whilst Czech Republic beat Scotland 2-0 at Euro 2020. So a big ask for Rangers and Celtic, but they're going to need results if they do want to make the knockout stages.
Yeah, I think Gabriel has set it up ideally. Rangers with a tough game against Sparta Prague, and we all know the calibre of the Czech Republic side. I think the injuries and the COVID situation certainly hasn't helped Rangers, but they do have enough in reserve, roughly, at times when they lose key players. They've got a good squad.
Yeah, we've already discussed it, that they could put 2 sides out compared to everybody else in the Premiership here. But I think Golson's a big player for them. I think he's been outstanding in the last couple of years, a mainstay in the side and shown a lot of interest for England. So I think when you take him out of the equation, they are just a wee bit vulnerable, and we know at the back they can be caught out on numerous occasions. So they'll be hoping whoever comes in there can put up a solid performance. Yeah,
well, talking of the people who could come in, Calvin Bassey and Leon Balogun could be this makeshift centre of defence, Tam, which isn't ideal, but I think Balogun, when he came in against Celtic, he was absolutely top drawer.
Aye, he was, and it's exactly for nights like this that you have a big squad, that's what it's all about. And the COVID stuff, it's always a downer when MD kind of falls foul like that, but it's going to happen, so there's a wee bit you've just got to move on for that, and I just wonder if it might play into Rangers' hands tonight, that the situation with the crowd, as you were alighting me about just before we came on air, about it's going to be basically a lot of kids, because they've had issues with racism as well, and it's going to be adults with kids. And I'm wondering, it's like, Peter, every team has got fans who go to every single game. I just wonder if there are any Rangers fans who have headed across there tonight and maybe into one of the local shops, tried to get one of the Prague school uniforms to fit them, and then bung one of the locals. It's got a ticket, a couple of bob to hoodies on at the game, because fans, for all sorts of reasons, tonight, because I nearly swore there, but because of racism, it's ridiculous. And then fans in general, I know, I think it's Motherwell and Hearts that have complained to the SPFL about not getting away tickets at games. We need to sort this out. You know, we need to remember for how long, you know, nearly 2 years it's been now when we were all absolutely dying to get into a game of football. And now when it is a time when we can get back, there's all these obstacles being put in place. But you know what, if they've not got their usual partisan home crowd, then maybe that's a wee bonus for Rangers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I just get this vision now that Tam has painted the picture of about 300 Angus Young fans with Rangers scarves jumping in there.
Have a go.
Listen, at the end of the day, I don't think the fans or lack of them will make that much of a difference to the overall performance of Rangers. They know they're up against it. It's not been a great start, although, you know, when you look at it domestically, I think Steven Gerrard get a little bit irked by the suggestion they haven't been on top form yet. They're top of the table, and I think all the reporter was trying to suggest to him was, look, it's not quite the heady heights of last season when they had the bit between their teeth. They haven't really played the kind of a entertaining football, Ruffy, that we saw at times last season.
Yeah, they're getting results, but it's the style that they had last year. You know, the way, the swagger they had when they won games. You know, they were really great to watch, you know, and they were beating everybody hands down, not losing goals, solid at the back, and scoring quality goals as well. And I think that whoever asked that question is perfectly correct. You know, they aren't playing to the level they were playing last year, but they're still winning games, and that's the important thing.
Yeah, here's the potential. I'll get to the Rangers 11 in just a second, because I don't think it's actually too far from coming out.
We'll get it officially.
Yeah,
rather than you guessing.
Yeah, I was going to say
it's always better.
I was going to say here's a potential 11, but it's better. It's not too far away, I'm being told. So we'll get on to that. But Alfredo Morelos. Now, I don't know about you, Ruffy. I'm looking. He's only scored 4 goals for Rangers this season. He's been left out of the Colombian side. Is he one of these guys that just needs to... Is it tonight where you're looking for players to step up to the plate, the likes of him, to chip in with a goal? He's been quiet.
Yeah, I'm sure the manager's had a chat with him. You know, I've said it all along that these kind of players do get affected when they maybe think they're going to get a move, and maybe they've built themselves up to get a move, and people have told them they're going to get a move, and then it goes flat in its face, and then they don't go in a huff, but they just lose focus, and it's a team game and not just all about him. And the sooner that he gets back on the park and scoring goals, and these are the kind of games that they need him, because away from home you don't get that many chances, but he's got the knack on his game to get that winning goal. So I think it's important that he gets back on the park.
The thing is, he might have had a sluggish start, but there's no way you're going to leave him out, you know.
No.
I mean, he's one of the guys as well. We've all seen him in the past, and I've used an argument with you boys before about remembering players who, the minute I saw them emerging for the away team out the tunnel at Fir Park, I just thought, he's going to score against us today. And it happened with Henrik Larsson. If you saw him run out, you thought he's going to get a goal, and he invariably did. Happened with Chris Boyd, you think he's going to score. And Morelos is one like that. I mean, if we to play Rangers at Fir Park in the next fixture, when we're at home to Rangers, obviously, you know, it would give you such a boost at the start if you saw Morelos just sitting on the bench, you know. It'd be great.
I know we're not talking about him, but we were talking about him yesterday. And Lee Griffiths comes into that category as well.
Oh, aye.
On top of his game. If he
Absolutely.
came visiting, that shows you how well he was scoring goals and playing well, and that's how worried everybody was.
Although I'm not sure he'd be able to get out the Motherwell tunnel now. Maybe wait till he's match fit, lost a wee bit of timber. He did look as I thought that, you know, you've heard me, Peter Rabbit, one about Lee Griffiths. If we leave all the personal stuff, the private life aside, and only focus on the football, you know, I'm a big fan, and you know I was wanting him there on the bench in the Euros to come on and hopefully, you know, conjure up a wee late free kick or something like that. But even I did notice in the game last week, he did seem to be, you know, I know James McPake is his big pal and he's been his former teammate, etc. But you know, I think he did look as if he was carrying a wee bit of weight. Yeah. I know that's the three of us sitting here talking, but you know, neither of us are contracted to a football club.
I was just about to say, I mean, unless it's a Legends match or a five-a-side trophy, I'm not really bothering.
Incidentally, I'm all in black today just for Barcelona. Right?
God,
I mean, I don't even know if you were going to come on there, but you guys know a hell of it. You know, I'll watch the Scottish teams tonight, brilliant. I don't tune into a lot of the other stuff, but Barcelona, if I did catch them in the telly, was always a must. You knew you were going to be entertained. Were they a one-man team? Is that what's happened here?
No,
since Messi went?
No, I think the whole thing's been dismantled since then, and their signing policy, I think, has been poor. One of the things that really has put them in the stook, Tam, is the fact that they've spent hundreds of millions on players that really were not the same standard as what they had at their disposal. Plus, of course, listen, it gets ever more difficult, Ruffy, if you don't have coming through their famed academy of La Masia, the likes of a Xavi, the likes of an Iniesta. I mean, Busquets must be sitting there looking at himself saying, "Oof, this is the end of an era. I'm 33 and I'm looking at players that really are not the calibre of what I was playing with before."
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you get serious in debt. You know, you can't go for the big players. That's why the big players go to other teams, and we're talking about in the past.
And even the big players, Ruffy, that they bought, I mean, they've been a failure.
Yeah, well, the point I was going to make is now we've got Paris Saint-Germain with Messi and Neymar and Mbappe, and you look at the height of Barcelona, they had Neymar, they had Messi, they had Suarez, that three, and now they're plus the midfield that you're talking about as well, so they are in a bit of a mess.
Well, I think Messi should still ask for more money. I know he's in £1 million a week, but when they're getting him, as I saw the other night, to play that position when they form a defensive wall.
Yes.
And he's the guy that lies down. You think, oh, come on. It's Lionel Messi.
Yeah.
You don't even have him back there. Keep him up the park.
Listen, he's a team player. Just out of curiosity, Tam, I mean, I often wonder about it from your upbringing. If you were on if suddenly something happened that you knew you had £1 million a week, would it change you as a person? Would you change?
It would. I would go straight out and fill my car with petrol.
And the other thing I was going to say to you, would you change? Would you carry on working, daytime and nighttime?
I've had this argument because, as I've said to you before, Peter, now 27 years now that I've done the radio, I've not once come out to the BBC, gone to Motherwell at home, gone to the game, edged into Row D in the Phil O'Donnell stand, sat with my pals and gone, I've just come from my work, right? Because my pals who have actually done a serious shift through the week, proper graft. I can think of two of them in particular. They would just boot you in the home Oz, you know what I mean? If I claim that's sitting with my pal and having a laugh and I carry on about the fat bar when you're sitting here is work. So I've often thought about that. The old one, everybody's dreamed about what would you do if you win the lottery. There's a wee bit of me would still like to win.
You'd give up the after dinner stuff though.
You would, I would day one last after dinner when I'd get the lottery and 173 million. You know what? I'm just going to go for it tonight. No, it's my last one anyhow.
But that's what I was going to say to you. The worst thing you do is give it up because there'll be that many people looking to sue. Anyway, apart from anything else, I look at the group, Ruffy, Lyon, Sparta Prague, Brøndby and Rangers. I get the feeling this one's not going to go according to plan for Rangers this season. I think it's going to be mightily difficult for them to qualify out of this group. I mean, you have a look at it at the moment. Okay, it's only after match day 1. I fancy Rangers for a point tonight. I just think that even with all the people that Steven Gerrard can't count on, I think they're always well organised away from home. But I'm not so sure they'll get out of that group.
Well, it was a bad one getting the number 1 team in the first game, and it was a bad one getting them at home. Because you've got to win your home games. They always say 9-10 points is what you qualify first or second. So if you win your 3 home games, you're in with it, and then you try and nick a point somewhere. We saw Lyon, so we can't expect them to beat Lyon over there. So that goes down to their 2 home games plus the 2 away games. So for me, it's got to be something. It's got to be a point, at least, and win your 2 home games. I think they've got every chance. I think Golson's a big miss. I know he's a centre half, but I think I will. I always come on this show and we get European games and we talk up foreign teams too much, and I think this team are a good team. They're not a team that's going to be there at the end of the day.
No.
So there's always a chance if you take them.
So, I think you're nudging towards
a draw. I'm going for a draw. No, I'm going for a draw. I've got one.
I will remind you, if you go with the draw 0-0, then you're always winning. You're winning until somebody scores.
Exactly, but there's a drawback for that, Tam, and the drawback is the people who watch the show, who are football aficionados, really want reality television where they can scratch and then scalp you through the television. they want you to come up with a tremendous insight.
I think tonight, I've not done that for a while, but I think tonight, I've got a wee sneaky feeling Rangers will get a draw as well, so I would go with 0-0 tonight.
My apologies about the three of us. It's not sitting on the fence, it is a prediction. You can give us your prediction, and probably if you watch this programme, as quite a lot of expats do, Ruffy, through the night, we're either it's going to be slightly delayed, they'll know the score already, but that's Rangers out there against Sparta Prague. What about Celtic?
Hang on, how will we know the score?
Well, because
it's a different time if you're watching it.
It's 5:45 it kicks off at.
Aye, but we're still, that's like saying that when if we were abroad, we would know what the score is and we could run out to the bookies.
The majority of
Are they watching it now as we speak?
No.
Ah, right, it's a delayed... It's a delayed transmission.
They won't get the live.
Right.
They'll be getting, through the night.
Right, okay.
They'll be at like 1 o'clock in the morning. British
Who's
time.
going to get up at 1 o'clock in the morning watch us? Have we got Shirley Bassey coming on later as a special guest?
I'm not even...
Imagine that. What are you going to be doing, honey? I'm setting the alarm for 1 o'clock in the morning now. That's Peter Martin, Tam Cowan and Ruffy.
Some people, listen, there's some people do actually. And this one is Hi Pete, Jason from Bewley. Hope you're well. Just on Morelos, his role this season has changed a lot, dropping in deeper to create the space behind and the long diagonal for the speedier lads. And he's in Russia. Garyushki in Russia. So the reason I read that out from Jason right away is to prove the point. There are some people in different time zones.
What age is it there? What time is
it there?
No.
Never mind. I don't know. We're a couple of hours ahead. Anyway, he's watching it now. But there are people in America, Ruffy, who...
Yes. And Toronto.
And Toronto. And Australia and New Zealand, who watch it at different times. Anyway, Celtic Bayer Leverkusen before Shirley Bassey's on. I notice she's just warming up. This one, I know we want to be optimistic, Ruffy.
Guy doesn't even look like Shirley Bassey's coming on.
No, exactly. I know he doesn't. I know we want to be positive, but I can't be. I'm going to this game tonight. I can't muster up enough of a positive attitude about it because I watched Celtic at the weekend. I think, with a Yeti, they're not going to score goals. I don't think he's an out-and-out striker. I don't think he's good enough to get the goals domestically or in European football. And I look at Bayer Leverkusen and I'm saying to myself, wow, the last 5 games they've only lost, and that was 4-3 narrowly to Borussia Dortmund. They're a good side. They're second in the league. And I just think Celtic are in for a real torrid time tonight.
Yeah, I think on the evidence of what we saw in domestic league, they're still vulnerable at the back. Doesn't matter who they're playing. So this is a quality German side. I always think German sides are really, really tough. They've been there, they've done it. They're in a really difficult league and they're sitting second top. So yeah, they're coming up. Celtic are coming up against a quality side. The sides that usually come up in the Premier League are nowhere near what's going to happen tonight. So we saw the evidence of what's been happening domestically. So the obvious thing you've got to say is it's going to be a really tough night. But again, as I say, on the night, the big team.
Don't give me probabilities.
No, on
the night. Is there any chance
night,
you could be more cutthroat
on
at the moment?
On the night, you've always got a chance. But I don't think it's going to happen tonight. I'm going 2-1 the Germans.
My neighbour who's a big Celtic fan, he'd know a wee bad line the day when I was talking to him. He says, I think we'll get a result tonight. He says, I think our supporters boss won't be able to find any diesel.
The problem
but is this no when Celtic are meant to kind of raise historically and traditionally, it's going to be a game under the lights, a European game. All right, it's not one of the big Champions League nights, but this might actually. I'm trying to support the Scottish team here. Yeah. This might be just what Celtic need. Maybe just to slightly knock them out of their slumber. You never know. They might rise to the occasion, but Bayer Leverkusen look tasty.
To rise to the occasion, Tam, you need to have players who can rise to the occasion.
I know.
And I'm not being critical of it. I mean, I'll tell you how mad this whole thing is. I have consistently said Ange Postecoglou needs time to try and mould this team together with the injuries, players that are not available to him. So that's fine. But I'll tell you how mad it is. I ran into a couple of Celtic fans today, and one of them came out with the classic line, which you hear all the time. you know, I know a few people in there, and he could be, he could be gone by tomorrow. And I thought, what? He could be gone by tomorrow? The world's gone mad.
Pressing the panic button, you know, it's no work to it so far, but I do think Celtic will stay up.
I mean, look at the predicted.
Are they sixth now?
Yeah.
Aye.
And Aberdeen are just in behind them in seventh, and
You can
it's a
feel
mid-table
that. You can
battle.
feel that Motherwell arrogance now. You know, you can feel where they're
Listen,
sitting
can I
at
tell you
that
something?
table.
I do not mind, Ruffy. Listen, everybody has to have their day. Motherwell are playing
Where are you
well. I
sitting
watched
now?
them.
Third?
Well, we're fourth now,
fourth,
but it's nice and tight up at the top. It's looking good. The big test is Saturday at Tynecastle. You know what I mean? We passed. I think the first big test of the season, be getting the draw at Ibrox, hard-fought draw. I know Rangers had loads of chances, but I think well deserved when you look at a wee couple of instances again. But this is a biggie. That Tynecastle crowd right in Tappers on Saturday. But, you know, it'll be interesting. If we get a result out of that, I'll be quietly confident of a decent season. And what you're saying, Peter, about, you know, your pal and, here, and she could be out tomorrow and all that. I mean, I even heard a Motherwell fan saying something very, very similar when we lost to Dundee in the League Cup, and it was all that chat about, you know, it's not working out for him, and I've heard so and so doesn't like him, you know. Yeah. And then it's amazing what a few results can do. And when you start looking at a league table it looks really, really decent, you know. So I'm quietly confident of a decent season. I'm
always wary though of players who say they don't like the manager are usually the ones who are not getting picked.
Aye.
But nevertheless, if you look at this predicted lineup, Ruffy, of Celtics, Hart, fine, absolutely. Ralston playing out of his skin. The boy deserves tremendous credit. Carter Vickers, he hasn't done anything wrong. Starfelt, for me, it's not happening. I'm worried about him. I think he's a bomb scare. Montgomery is a young boy who is going in and playing in a position that I don't think he will eventually mould his career in left back. And then Rogic, for me, is a game in four. Gives the ball away. McCarthy, struggling to settle. Turnbull has hit a wee lull where a number of people are not happy with what he's contributing. Abada, fine. Jota, I think, has been really good. Ayeti, it's just not on, Ruffy. Now, I could easily look at 4 or 5 of that team and think you need to either be dropped or replaced.
Yeah, I would think at the level of the quality that Celtic used to have, you know, you could, I think your summing up there was excellent. I do think the two wide guys will cause anybody problems, but it's what's in the middle. You know, if he's got to step up to the plate here, I think Turnbull's one of the players who misses a good player beside him, and I mean McGregor. I think when McGregor's there, he's a different kind of player. McCarthy's just coming in. You know, you can't expect anything. Two full-backs are just young. Not Ralston, he's been there, but when you think of the full-backs that Celtic have had, it's not the same quality. So,
and of course, Peter, you need to warn Joe Hart about Mr. Patrick Schick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, absolutely. That's what we mentioned about it.
He may be keen to show to a Scottish audience that wasn't a fluke, you know.
Although his overall play, never mind the great goal, he was excellent.
He was top class, you know. And then you've always got, you know, the headlines can be made in the back pages. The fact you've got Frimpong there, you know, all my days, and you know, imagine him popping up for maybe a wee goal or something, you know.
Yeah.
Fans love it when a player comes back to haunt you, you know.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
Or the player that comes back, scores and doesn't celebrate. We saw it recently there with Liam Boyce up at Ross County.
Yeah, I saw that. It's
a lovely wee moment. It was strange. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would like to have thought that there'd be Hearts fans, because there would be Motherwell fans in a similar situation. There would have been Hearts fans on the day who'd have been roaring at him, we're paying your wages now, you know what I mean? That's what, of course, you get in football. But he didn't, it was almost an apology. And what I loved about it, lovely wee cameo for a wee Ross County fan that was sitting in behind the goals. And when Liam Boyce kind of as good as apologised, the wee Ross County fan who'd just seen his team losing a goal to Liam Boyce gave him a wee round of applause. Yeah. So that was as if to say it was awfully good of you.
Do you like that? Do you like that, Tam?
I like when it happens, because I like anything that's a wee bit different, anything that gives you a wee talking point or a nice wee cameo moment like that.
Yeah. But, a nice wee bit of sentiment.
Aye, and I mean, the most famous one, who'd be the most famous example?
Henrik, Barcelona scores at Celtic Park.
I thought he'd even go back further.
Go on.
Somebody that scored even, was it a back healer?
Oh, Dennis Law.
There you go.
Yes.
Aye. Yeah. And there was no traditional celebration there, of course, you know.
It's funny, I'm glad you said that, because it's a wee bit of sentiment from yourself. Now, Ruffy, we've been together 10 years, and I have to say, Ruffy, if I was playing for Liverpool and I went back to Celtic, you know, and I'd scored I would probably, bearing in mind what Tam says, you know me from sporty things, I would probably run right over to the Greenway game.
And that'd be the first and last time you'd have done it.
Yeah, I don't care. Liverpool are paying your wages, you just get in there.
Did Harold Brattbach come back and score?
Rosenborg, great shout, Tom, great shout. You're on fire today.
It's funny how
man, it's sick in the Motherwell fans. This was a biggie.
Yeah.
The gentleman who was front and centre in Skippy Sunday.
Oh,
I'm sure you remember that afternoon.
Yeah.
He then goes to Celtic in October of whatever year it was and scored the hat-trick against Motherwell. Now, in fairness, there'd have been still... There undoubtedly were. One of my pals was a lot of unforgiving Celtic fans who couldn't acknowledge that he was doing his job for his team that day.
Yeah.
That unforgettable afternoon at Fir Park, as Motherwell fans, we weren't meant to celebrate.
Yeah.
He was doing the bizzle, but I think he finally get his critics off his back, if there were any remaining Celtic fans when he scored that hat-trick,
The only thing I would say to you, Tam, I mean, I'm Ruffy knows, I hate losing, but I like to celebrate if we're playing any sport, but the only thing I wouldn't do, I mean, if you're there in that end, you can give it loudly because the team's paying your wages, that's my attitude to it, but I wouldn't do the Adebayor.
Right.
I wouldn't score the goal at one end and then run the entire length of the pitch to annoy the Arsenal fans. That was just mental.
You'd get a taxi, wouldn't you?
it must be an outfield person.
Ruffy, can I tell you something? I've just had it here. Here's the Rangers side. McGregor, Tavernier, Bassey, Davis, Aribo, Kamara, Bakuna, Roof, Balogun, Sakala and Barisic. And that's a good side, Ruffy.
Yeah, it's... As Tam said, that's where you've got a quality squad to pick for. That's what happens. That's what kind of side you're putting out. So there's only like one guy, missing out of that. So they've all been there. They've all done it away from home, particularly.
You mentioned Morelos there.
No. This is
Sakala.
This Sakala.
So Morelos on the bench.
Aribo, Sakala, and Roof are the front three. Kamara, Bakuna and Davis in the middle of the park.
Right.
And then the back four is Barisic, good player, Balogun and Bassey, makeshift centre. Tavernier, great. McGregor, top drawer goalkeeper. The substitutes, McCrory, McLaughlin, Lundstrom, Hadji, Patterson, Morelos, Wright, Kelly, Arfield and McClelland. That's a decent 11.
Absolutely. And the minute you've got Alan McGregor back in there, you just think, bolstered at the back. Although I still think it's just touching on that. I would never ever want to take any international or national recognition away for any players. So while I didn't really agree with folk having a go that any of the goalies that were selected by Stevie Clarke, well done to John McLaughlin, well done to Motherwell's Liam Kelly, that when I saw the stats that were doing the rounds about Xander Clark, primarily St Johnstone fans getting it going, it does seem ridiculous that he wasn't in the squad for this big game against Israel. We know that Craig Gordon is undoubtedly going to be the man between the sticks, and it's very, very rare that you'd have to call upon your number 2 or your number 3, however it was, but it just seemed a wee bit of a slap in the dish to me. I mean, of all the guys that you could pick Peter, that Stevie Clarke could pick, can you think of anyone more at home at Hampden than a St Johnstone player?
Well,
when you look at recent history.
But to be fair, I don't know how
the beard you don't like.
I don't know how we managed to weave our way from Rangers starting. He's magnificent. You're turning into Billy Connolly. But can I tell you something? The point is this: why are we getting our knickers in a twist about somebody who's third choice?
Well, I know. But
do you know what I mean?
But there's a great pride in that, and being, as Ruffy will tell you, must have been. Who was a quintessential guy when you were the Scotland goalie? Who was the guy who always went to trips but just never got a game?
Yeah, did you speak to that guy, Ruffy? Did you even hang about with that guy?
Probably George Wood or somebody.
Right, there you go.
Or Jim Blythe.
When was the last time you saw Jim Blythe?
I haven't seen him for
What about George Wood?
I haven't seen him.
When was the last time you phoned him? He's not
But I put my foot in it as well with that Xander Clarke thing, and Cheryl helped me out by posting it. That I thought McLaughlin shouldn't be in there, but then it was brought to my attention that the reason he was left out and Xander Clarke in was because he had COVID.
Right. You know why that escaped you?
Why?
You know why, don't you?
Why?
Because that involves research. You should have known that.
No,
You're a pundit.
I thought it was a good PR stunt. I don't remember him having COVID. I think it was just a wee...
I got a lovely little message here from Billy who says, Peter, you also predicted Celtic would be destroyed in Spain. Well, I mean, for God's sake, they're 2-0 up and lose 4-3.
As destroyed. If you're 2-0 up and then you concede 4, of course it is. You were spot on.
I thought
my dinner.
Yeah, exactly. I thought they would lose. It could have been a great night out. Can you imagine it?
Been brilliant.
A 0-0, but it's just not going to happen. Anyway, that's that Rangers side. So we think a draw. You might differ on this one. As far as Celtic Bayer Leverkusen, we've given you the potential predicted lineup. There is a wee sniff that maybe McGregor could play some part in the game. I certainly hope so, because I think Callum McGregor is just a brilliant player. And some people are saying, some people mentioned to me he's never a Celtic captain. I don't know what is a Celtic captain. I mean, on and off the field, he leads by example. You won't get a peep out of Callum McGregor. I can't think of anything associated to him which has been negative, Ruffy. And he's a good player.
He's still going to grow into the captaincy, the point I was making is he's a different captain for Scott Brown.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
He's a different player for Scott Brown.
That's not a criticism of Scott Brown. No. But I don't think captains, I don't know about you, Tam, I don't think captains need to be snarling Rottweilers. I mean, James Tavernier's a captain that you don't.
Stephen O'Donnell isn't a snarling Rottweiler, to use your phrase as well. But I hate when folk, to use the expression you used earlier, Peter, when folk get their knickers in a twist about a captain. But I do agree with Ruffy. Traditionally, I like the captain maybe to be a big commanding centre half.
Yeah.
And that's that. But yeah, again, the old cliche they say in football is that every manager and every supporter, they're hoping that you've got 11 captains out in the pitch. But again, there doesn't seem an obvious candidate in that Celtic team. You think you would look at any team and assume there was, but
Yeah, well, they haven't bought one. It's certainly not in the back line at the moment. Well, I was thinking Joe Hart, actually, to
experience, the caps,
but I wouldn't,
been there and done it.
I wouldn't give it to him on the basis that I think McGregor's earned his stripes, and he has a style of captain that maybe others don't have. Meant to say to you, did I get a prediction from you? I think Celtic are going to lose 3-1 tonight.
Well, you know what? When you look at the respective leagues, Celtic being 6th in Scotland, I know there's nothing in it in its early days, but Bayer Leverkusen, this great league in Germany that we're all meant to look up to and salute and think they know what they're doing in that country. They're second, you were saying, so I think Celtic will be doing well. I'm going to do the 0-0, all joking aside.
Yeah, why?
I'm doing the double tonight because I think Celtic might get a wee lift out of the occasion tonight. They've been stuttering and stammering, and big hands, you does need some sort of result. Yeah. And I think if you look at the pedigree of the team coming to Glasgow tonight, then I'm going to do my double 0-0.
Yeah. See if you get an hour lunch, for God's sake.
Hey,
another bet.
I have a bet if you want. Here's a great thing, right? I mean,
go double or quits.
The good thing, to hell with the double or quits. If it's 0-0, right? And you believe in that,
right?
If it's 0-0. You take us out for a meal.
If it's 0-0?
Yeah. Because, I mean, Celtic will not keep a clean sheet.
Right, you reckon if it's 0-0? Right, if it's 0-0, I'll take you out for some scran. Out my winnings.
That's fantastic.
Right, there you go.
That is magnificent. You happy with that?
I'm delirious.
Right, brilliant. We'll go with that.
The point Tom's made.
Yeah, I know the point he's made.
The point he's making, this could be the kickstart for the manager. It could be. Stranger things have happened.
Can I tell you something? There's lots of people on here. Some of them are ardent Rangers, Celtic, Motherwell, Hearts, Hibs fans, but they're not fooled. I mean, Gee's piece. Is there any chance you can look at what we're watching?
Well, I went 2-1 the Germans.
Yeah, okay.
So that's on the evidence of what I've saw.
Are you having a steak? It's 0-0. You just
looking through the carpet.
I'm going to be absolutely plastered. Anyway, that's the two games involving Rangers and Celtic. Just out of curiosity, Tam, obviously the commitments with the radio mean that you don't go to too many away games.
It's
see if it was Hearts against Motherwell.
Yeah,
if it was on a Sunday, would you go?
On the Sunday we've got the radio on the Sunday as well, so it would just depend what time the game was on. But the one that I made the extra special effort for obvious reasons, was when we had our first game back after the death of Phil O'Donnell.
Yep.
Scottish Cup tie, January 2008. That would have been, and there was just this feeling, the whole fan base at Motherwell basically went. It was Motherwell fans, seems ridiculous, and it's an open goal here for folk to take the mick out of the size of your support, but there were Motherwell fans locked out that day.
Yes.
They couldn't get it. They wanted to go along and show their support for the team, for the club, for the players, because of the hugely emotional couple of weeks it had been after his tragic passing and the funeral and that. And so I did absolutely make an exception that day. I either bailed out early to make sure I'd get to Tynecastle in time, or we might even have been on air earlier.
Yeah.
But rather than rush and try to hit the M8 and then up Gorgie Road and all that, you'd have taken the easy option and watched it at the BBC. But no, that day you had to be there, you know.
Did you get a programme?
You had to. Oh, I've got a few.
There was a lovely tribute from Hearts in it.
They were brilliant. And Hearts, I've told you this before, but that's how when Hearts had all their troubles, I tried to help them out, because Hearts were magnificent with Motherwell that day in the programme. It wasn't like any other match programme.
Oh.
With all the adverts for Venetian blinds and all that everywhere, and you know, and car showrooms. Now the front cover was just this black front cover with almost like an etching of Phil's face, and then it was tributes for everybody. And it was brilliant. And you know what, the wee bit that still gives me the goosebumps, I don't know if I've told you this before, and I still find myself looking at it now and again in when they've got the highlights up on YouTube, as the Motherwell team left the pitch at 10-3 after the warm-up. You know, they were already getting this brilliant ovation for the Motherwell fans, of course, and then as they ran off to go down the tunnel and get stripped to come back out, one of the last guys to leave the pitch, rather poignantly, was Davy Clarkson, who of course was Phil's nephew, you know. And I've still got this image. I didn't spot it at the time from where I was in what's that, the Wheatfield stand behind the goals. I didn't spot it for there, but I saw it in the telly at night, and you just see as Davy Clarkson's about the last to go in, there's one Hearts fan up in the main stand in a kind of a beige kind of padded coat, and he stands up and he gives Davy Clarkson his own wee standing ovation, just as if to say, I know what you've been through, pal. You know what I mean? And it's really it was a lovely wee moment, you know. Yep, football does that from time to time. It's nice, and that's how, sorry to blabber on here, but that's how, see when you think the amount of nice stuff that does happen in football, that's how, I know you have a go at Zoomers, we get in contract and get in contact every other week, but you're right, there's no need for it. Yeah. Football's a great thing, it brings a lot of folk together. The majority of people, I think, are, absolutely. I think as high as, 90-95% of football fans. I don't think I'm wide of the mark, Ruffy. 90 to 95% of football fans are just normal people who want to go and have a laugh with their mates. Absolutely. A wee bit of banter, enjoy their team. They go home, they don't want to fight.
Yeah, I think if you go to a game, if you're way before the kick-off and you see the people who are going to a game and how in a good mood they're in, if it's a dad with his daughter or his son, they're really excited about getting along to see something, and when they get in there, obviously they want to win the game, but I mean, you can't win all the time, so you go and you enjoy the game and have a good day. And I'm only talking about Partick Thistle. I'm really impressed with how many families are starting. I don't know if you see it in Motherwell. Families that are going to games. Mums and dads and kids and everything. It's fantastic. You buy at the risk of me being an unofficial PR man for Motherwell again, we've done it for a few seasons now. If you buy a adult season ticket in the Cooper stand, you get 2 free kids season tickets. That's brilliant. And obviously Thistle kind of get the ball rolling a few years ago with all under 16s free of charge. Are you trying for a second kid now, just based on the whole season ticket thing? I was already doing it my last level teaspoonful, trust me. Anyway, there is no chance. Stephen Glancy says, any chance I can come to the lunch? I could maybe take Ruffy in as a lodger. What are you doing this weekend? That wouldn't end well for you. Lots of people. Thomas McGovern says, Sam, get your wallet out. There's no way this defence could keep Waynes out of a close. Anyway, apart from anything else, if it's 0-0, I only need to get my wallet out if it's 0-0. Absolutely, he's picked that up wrong. If it's 0-0, Tam's taking his out for a meal. I am not planning even the starter at this moment. Anyway, great stuff there. There's a couple of other things I want to get your thoughts on. Tam McManus was quite critical of Graham Mathie. He's gone from Hibs. That's a wee bit of news that came out. I mean, I think there's a big sweeping clean-up of the back end of things from Ron Gordon. He's reassessing now. Leanne Dempster went, and obviously Ben Kensel come in. So I think he's looking now and thinking, okay, maybe I need a fresh eye on this for Hibs. Although some of the recruitment's been good, Ruffy. Yeah, I think there's lots of things going on behind the scenes that supporters don't know what's happening, and Tam is obviously on the ball with that one because he's through there, he's talking to people, he's listening to what's happening, and sometimes wee tweaks here and there, you need to do them. I'll tell you one thing, Ruffy, I don't know when the last time you were at Easter Road, but the big screens and everything look great now. I mean, the stadium is just...
I think Ron Gordon, I can start to see the changes in the place, Tam. I think it's going in the right direction. I just wish, everybody would embrace a more positive attitude to our game instead of
Well,
fighting.
two positive things I would say. First up, I agree with you. I saw somebody posting a picture of the scoreboard, and they're now doing all the stats that you would ordinarily only see after the game now.
Yep.
They had all that up, and fans, particularly in this day and age, like a wee bit of that, and
Replays of the goal,
kids
magic.
got all wrapped up in it as well. And the other thing, and it's almost as if I had my crystal ball out the other week, you remember me waxing lyrical about Scott Allen. He was brilliant again. At the weekend there, and popping up with a goal as well, so I just really hope he can move on.
It's great. I tell you, I'd love to see that at Motherwell. I know you've got a new scoreboard at Fir Park,
Yes.
but I would love to see somewhere where they could accommodate, there are corners where they could accommodate that similar screen.
Well, what
to
I've
Easter
always
Road.
thought, it's still the only scoreboard that we've got, and what I would say is, and it's nice to look after folk who come to your house, as they say, if you're sitting up in that south stand, then you can't actually see it. You've not got a scoreboard that you can see anywhere.
No, exactly.
So
but
maybe there would be room for one up above the Cooper stand at least.
I'd love to see a big screen there at Fir Park as well. Good. The one thing I did miss, Ruffy, and I know we've earlier in the programme been talking about Celtic and Rangers. There's big games at the weekend that we can look forward to as well before we finish. But I must say, well done to Morton, because it's now Morton Club Together is the group who are now in total control. They've got 90% of the shares of the club. And I think now there's no debt, and they've also got the stadium under their control as well. So I think that whole buyout, Crawford Ray now and the Golden Casket team now gone, and I think Crawford and his dad especially, Douglas, kept that club alive.
Yeah, it was a family event for a long time, and they put an awful lot of money into the club, and obviously changes come. And it'd be interesting to see how it works. Tam's got the supporters at their club, and it's happening more and more often
Good bunch
now.
of people.
And
St Mirren.
Yep, I think it's the
Hearts, of course.
Yeah,
One of the biggest, in fact, the biggest fan-owned club in the UK. Would that be right?
I think that's a good
think
shout.
that's right,
Yeah,
yeah.
especially for the
and
commitment from there.
now the onus is on the supporters and not a wealthy owner.
And while we're dishing out the plaudits, this has been a lovely week last 10 minutes. We're so positive about everything. The Hibs Hearts ladies game last night broke an attendance record.
Over 5,000.
5,100 and something.
Yep.
And that was a record for the Big Edinburgh Derby. So, and again, a wee positive as well. You both have had your dealings with Peter Grant in the past. I think he took a wee bit of the heat off himself last night with the draw
Against
at
Raith
Rovers. When you guys have been watching all the European rubbish, I was your man on the BBC Scotland channel for Raith Rovers against Dunfermline, a good Fife derby, and I enjoyed it. And again,
I'm not having a pop at Jonathan, by the way. He's a lovely guy.
Right.
But the opening, I was on channel 115, and Jonathan says, Michael Stewart was his co.
Yep.
And he went, this place is cackling with excitement ahead of this one, and I was going through the channels, and I thought, okay, I've had a wee look. Good luck, Jonathan and Michael. Hope you enjoy the game. I'm watching.
Aye, well, you know me. I mean, I would even, if it was the Messi's Barcelona against Real Madrid, if it was a choice for me watching that or Raith Rovers Dunfermline, you know what I'm like. I would go Raith Dunfermline any day of the week.
Absolutely.
And again, I thought it was going to be the drama. I'm not going to lie. I was saying, Peter Grant maybe got a couple of critics off his back last night. Maybe he didn't, but it was like a wee bit soap opera as well, because when they went off 1-0 down, I mean, the Dunfermline fans let them know all about it, and you thought, you couldn't then take your eyes off it, because you thought if he gets beat in this game, in the derby, what's going to happen with the new board there? Are they going to bow to the fans' wishes? But
he's under pressure,
draw.
but the new board actually were keen for him to come in the first place, so let's hope Grandy gets more time. The reason why, and I wasn't being critical of Jonathan or Michael, who do a sterling job, the reason why I moved on was because it was Man United. It was Man United, Ruffy. You've got to watch it. I mean, it had everything. It had more than the Fife derby could ever have offered. It was unbelievable. I mean, this is how it finished in the results. Here are the results from last night. If you were Champions League watching it all, Atalanta squeezed past Young Boys Zenit, comfortable against Malmo. Bayern Munich thumped Dynamo Kiev. Benfica 3-0. Tam mentioned it at the start of the programme against Barcelona. Juventus defeated Chelsea. Salzburg 2-1 winners over Lille. Wolfsburg with a draw with Seville. But Man United 2, Villarreal 1. Ruffy, it was incredible. Ronaldo.
Yeah, it was, but I thought David De Gea is probably the best game he's ever had.
You love goalkeepers, don't you?
No, I'm not too sure about him, but I was glad that he had a good game, and a really good game, and he kept him in it for a long while. But Ronaldo, that's why you pay the money, isn't it? That's why you pay the money.
Was he mesmerising? Yes.
Tam, he was never in the game.
No.
I mean, honestly, if there's one manager, and listen, we don't like to try and get managers to sack him. I'm giving you the observation of United fans that I speak to. They look at the team and the way they play, and from my point of view, they look disjointed. And I think he is the one manager who is at the forefront of what I would call favourite to get the sack, because he's got so much talent at his disposal, and so many of the pundits down there are talking about the fact that it's individuals that are getting him back in games. There's not a real team look about them, Ruffy. And again, you know, Solskjaer at the end, the only thing he could talk about was the man who popped up in the 95th minute to score the winner, which was Ronaldo.
That's just what he's done throughout his career. He's so strong mentally. He just stays in the game. I've seen him all day today, the way he's built himself up for this game, how focused he's been, and when he gets that one chance, it's a goal.
Yeah, I thought he was absolutely magnificent, but United are all over the place at times, Ruffy. They're so disjointed.
Yeah, you're right. You know, it's a jigsaw that's never come together. They've got Pogba, they've got Ronaldo, they've got the big boy at the back, but it's not like
Fernandes, Lindegaard.
Yeah, I know, but they're all great individual players.
Yeah,
they're not like a team.
No, it's the manager. The manager's not. He's not the right man. I don't know.
Well, he's not the high profile. I've always said the Chelsea's the teams, the Liverpools who want to win the Champions League need a Champions League manager. Somebody who's won the Champions League and he's scored the goals, but he's not won it.
No, I don't think he's got the right calibre, Tam.
Is that what's keeping him in there now, do you think? Is it just the fact he's a club legend?
No, I think what's keeping him in there at the moment is individuals who are saving his skin.
Saving his skin at the right time, because you keep hearing the phrase bandied about him being out his depth. Yeah. You know, and you think, well, a club like Man United, if they thought that at the high level, they're not going to muck about. Well,
but I can't believe they're giving him the job in the first place. I mean, if you look at after Sir Matt Busby, Wilf McGuinness, you know, they start to bring in managers.
Can't bring these guys back though.
No, but they started bringing in a couple of managers who were not equipped to handle a club that size. That was in the 60s and 70s. Then they get Tommy Docherty, who at least had a CV. You know, following Fergie is bad enough. You know, Van Gaal, Moyes had a CV. They had experience. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is mauled at a failure in Swansea, I think it was. You know, so it's not good enough, and I don't think he's the calibre to take Man United on. But you know, they were delighted to get the win. Listen, talk about managers who do have a CV. Look at Ronald Koeman. I mean, I think they're talking about, you know, in the next 24 hours he could be gone. But who did they replace? Would you take the Barcelona job knowing that they're so much in debt?
What does it pay?
Well, exactly. Yeah, we would.
I would take it for a week and get sacked. Do this kind of Steve Bruce approach.
I meant to say to you, can you come up with? We've got a list here of the goals for Ronaldo, the late winner. See if you can guess before we put the graphic up. Give me your classic late winner in a match that lives long in the memory.
Well, there was a certain Scottish Cup final that went to extra time, and up popped Stevie Kirk. I suppose that's the first one that obviously springs to mind with me. Actually, you know the one that springs to mind with me? It was one at Motherwell conceded a late goal. Scottish Cup tie at home to Rangers. We had gone 1-0 up, and Stevie Woods, goalie, who I really, really liked. Yeah. Stevie split the fans maybe at Motherwell, you could say, but I really liked him. But we're leading 1-0. We're just about to put the mighty Rangers out of the Scottish Cup on what was my mate Peter McBride's stag night. So we were all going out for a big night. Imagine how that night would have been if you just put one of the old firm out the cup. Closing seconds, Stevie Woods kind of throws the ball out badly to the kind of right back position. It was intercepted by, I think, Mikhailichenko, who played it in, and my mind's scarred with it, so thankfully I can't remember. It might have been Gordon Jury, bang, scored, and suddenly your face just fell. And it definitely took the shine off the Stag night. And lo and behold, same old story, as you'll know if you support a team like Motherwell, replay midweek, 3-0, we weren't at the races. You know, so that was a late goal that still hurts.
And of the two that you've quoted, amazingly, they're not in the 5.
Are they not?
No. The Ruffy.
I would have, like Rangers Celtic late goals are always in the memory.
Yeah.
You know, wee Joe Miller was quite late, wasn't he, in one of the games?
Yeah, but can you give me a specific in this 5 that we've got?
The 1-0 game. Joe Miller, 1-0 in the final.
In the cup final, yeah.
And Rangers
that wasn't late on, Ruffy, it was in the second half.
And Rangers had won late on. The game, and I'm trying to think off the top of my head. So the answer to that is no.
The international goals.
Let me just show you the 5. Here's the 5. Right, this is the list. So Solskjaer, Manchester United against Bayern Munich. Hello, come on.
Okay.
Aguero, Man City, QPR. Does it get any later? Scott McDonald for Motherwell against Celtic. Tam. The helicopter's changing direction. Michael Thomas, Arsenal against Liverpool. Brian Moore's fantastic commentary on that one. And of course, Grosso, Italy against Germany. A late one as well. I think the reason why Grosso's in is because our reporter Gabriel puts in the odd Italian one. I wouldn't have put that one in myself.
Right, I think it was against Cyprus.
Yep.
Richard Gough.
And
that was something like the 99th minute.
Late.
The time wasting going on.
Did Scotland not have one against
Liechtenstein?
By 7 minutes.
It was Liechtenstein.
Do you know any late goal, Ruffy?
That one, Liechtenstein. That was in the stand.
Stephen McManus that might have scored.
You had an easy one to go for and you haven't gone for it.
What was that?
Kenny Whitson's just said it. David Gray.
Oh, the corner.
Yes, corner, yeah. Remember you used to play for them?
Yep. The invasion.
It's mental. So you're unbelievable. Anyway, apart from anything else, managers under pressure. Will there be managers under pressure after the results tonight? Who knows? Just to go back over that Rangers
side.
About
late goals as well before we move on, because it's an interesting topic. That is why I always feel for fans, particularly their kids that they've maybe got with them who are in the habit of leaving games early, don't do it. Don't do it. For where we are at the BBC doing it at River Clyde, you keep seeing traffic coming up. I can understand why guys try to beat they don't want to sit there for hours, but you keep seeing cars coming up maybe for home games at Ibrox and maybe the Feathers there with his wee boy. And I can remember examples in the past when the goals had been late, and you think that wee guy missed the goals.
But did you leave ever when Motherwell were getting absolutely battered? I cannot remember ever.
I stayed to shout at the manager and volleys of abuse. I always loved the drama that surrounds football, So, and if ever there was any wee, when I was a kid, if there was ever any wee sense of a protest against the manager and fans gathering outside, you'd always go round for a wee look and all that. It was brilliant entertainment. But you shouldn't leave early. And fans have, the fans who have fallen foul like that, if you like, I'll give you 2 games. I'll start with a Motherwell one as I normally do, but the legendary 6 each game.
Yes.
It's 6-2 to Hibs. Then, of course, there was loads of Motherwell fans left, and they missed one of the most astonishing. It's the most astonishing league match I have ever witnessed and ever will, right?
Yeah.
And then the other one, Peter, that you'll recall, and many Hibs fans missed out on this. Remember when it was Pat Fenlon's time, it was Scottish Cup semi-final, and Falkirk raced into a 3-0 lead. Remember that?
Yeah.
The Hibs then just emptied their way up Queen Street Station, away back to Edinburgh or whatever, And of course they came back and they won 4-3. So it's a dodgy thing, leaving early.
I agree.
And the most famous example, sorry to blabber on, but just when you're talking all things Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and all that, the late show from Man United in that Champions League final, the winner was, in fact, the 2 late goals were missed by 2 of the biggest names in the club's history, George Best and Bobby Charlton. The 2 of them as VIPs that night, when it looked as if Man United were beat. The folk who look after the VIPs swiftly moved in. Mr. Charlton, Mr. Best will then take you down to some swanky lounge, and they went and they missed the 2 goals.
Is that a fact?
They too, yep.
Oh, I didn't know that. But I have to say, Ruffy, I don't think I love Tam's attitude too. I wouldn't have gone round as a fan and started, complaining at the door. But I would never have left.
I think the biggest one that I have been told about, and it possibly be a rumour, when we won the League Cup in '71, there was a lot of Rangers supporters left Ibrox to come out to Hampden just to see, to see the game.
I think there might have been a lot of Celtic fans headed out.
There's a thing in the past.
4-0.
Is it maybe just because maybe the demise, if that's not too strong a word, of the supporters bus? But do you remember when I remember a Dunfermline Motherwell game in the old First Division, 81-82, and there was some other game scheduled to be on in Fife that day. Certainly Ayr United were taking part, and it was postponed. And a big posse Ayr United fans just came in to the Dunfermline Motherwell game, pied at the door and came in. It's not the sort of thing you could ever envisage in this day and age, but it happened a lot back then.
I think I don't mind the banter that comes through, and a lot of fans who watch this programme and contribute to it, they do come up with the odd bit of good stuff. Jimmy Duff has said, I hope Celtic fans don't leave early tonight or they'll miss Bayer Leverkusen's 7th goal.
Can you give it his full address?
Yeah, I was just about to say,
fans
Jimmy, you're a harsh man. But anyway, apart from anything else, it's the joy of football. Curiously enough, when we're looking at apps and various apps, thank you to lots of people who have contributed to our app. They've downloaded the app, and it gives them a chance to message, as Peter did there from out in Germany, and we get so many of them. And thanks also to Stuart Carruthers, who says it was Richard Gough against the Faroes to win 3-2. We'd been 2-0 down. I thought it was Cyprus. But I'm just reading
out. We might have
out.
had a late one against him as well, but the Cyprus one was the one where Craig Brown instructed all the youth players, the subs, everything, to go out and act as impromptu ball boys, just to keep the ball moving.
And Liam Watson, and the reason why I'm reading these out before we go, Liam Watson has said David Gray's winning goal has to be the most famous to end 114 years of waiting to win the Scottish Cup.
That's a good shout.
Liam, I can't argue with you on it, and the reason why I mention that is because Liam, like so many others with the app, if you download the PLZ Soccer app, there is a little section, it's called Submissions. You can go in there and as soon as you actually post a message, it'll come up right away on our screen, or you can actually record a message, and if you record a message with yourself on the screen, if we use it, we'll send you out something special from our merchandise. It's as simple as that. And the good thing about the app is it gives you all the latest breaking news from right across the UK, European football, world football, as well as being able to watch the programme at your leisure on your phone as well. So
why would you not subscribe? Honestly, you're offering all that.
You know what? By the way, that's what I love about Tam, because he is governed by the strict BBC guidelines, but here he gets the chance to be a commercial person.
Nobody wants to listen to me at the weekend and need to have a TV licence. That's the law. But you're giving them all this for nothing.
Exactly.
You're some man.
Can't get any better than that. Thanks to Tam, thanks to Ruffy, but most of all, don't forget, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you can, PLZ Soccer, and you'll get all our unique video content, and there's some really good things coming up. I'm really looking forward to seeing the edited version of Ruffy and Alec Ray, the Partick Thistle captain from 1971. The two teammates are here shooting the breeze, going back over the memories of that day. It's 50 years on the 23rd of October that Partick Thistle defeated Celtic by 4-1. It was a brilliant day here, Ruffy, just going through the memories. It's really a good programme. I thoroughly enjoyed Alec's company.
Yeah, Alec was, and he obviously speaks about his mum, who was a big part of his career. She used to go to all the games, and some of the stuff he was coming away with, I couldn't remember obviously at all, but they were great and funny as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talking to mums, just to bring you up to date, we sold my mum's house today.
Is that right?
Aye, a wee bit emotional. Particularly if the council find out.
Absolutely brilliant.
Well, that's that away, end of an era.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, I think I speak for all three of us. I think, is it fair to say, Ruffy, all three of us were mummy's boys?
Oh, most definitely,
yeah.
That was our favourite.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't think of a better way to end. Enjoy your football if you're a football fan. Thank you very much. Spread the word with your other mates. Come and join the football family. From Tam, Ruffy and myself, Peter Martin. Thanks for watching.